My computer's stuttering bad.
I'll show you stuttering. Put a hot girl in front of me.
Why buy a comic that might cost more than a dime? Come meet the brothers who are here to waste your time.
I have a correction to make.
Oh shit.
My review for Daredevil Omnibus Volume 2 by Brian Michael Bendis. I forgot to mention how grossly over-sexualized they made Black Widow. It was really uncomfortable. Somebody was really thirsty for Black Widow.
Wait, on which one? The Bendis run?
Yeah. I mean, Elektra a little bit, but they went crazy for Black Widow. It was bad.
Malev's artwork is pretty thirsty in general.
I loved that. Sorry. I loved it. Actually, you know what? I'm not sorry. I loved it, and I'm unapologetic about it.
I'm exhausted. I'm beat.
You all sound very exhausted.
It's been life's been. Can we roll this joint now?
Why buy a comic?
Welcome back to the Dime. Oh, fuck. Wow.
Yes, he brought it back.
This is what happens when you disappear for 2 weeks, Colin.
Shut the fuck up. Welcome back to the Dime Comic Bros podcast. I'm your host, Colin.
Who made you host?
Me, bitch. Fuck you.
He is joined.
Colin, joined by Jacob Garcias and Spencer Ramirez.
Yeah, that sure.
I prefer to be referred to as Jacob Deadman Garcias.
Okay, bitch boy. Jacob Deadman Garcias.
Yeah, all right, buddy.
Yeah, all right, buddy. Yeah, okay. I'm the cool guy here.
So this week, we read the 4th collected edition of Head Lopper, The Quest for Mulgrid Stair, which is issues 13, 14, 15, and 16, which were published in 2020 and 2021.
Look at Colin's ass. Man.
That's what I was saying earlier.
That was a lovely shot of your ass.
Thanks.
Juicy dumpy.
Oh, it is such a juicy dumpy. All right.
Written by Andrew MacLean. MacLean.
Macklin.
That one.
I wish this Pedialyte had like booze in it.
Are you trying to flush drugs out of your system?
No, I'm just trying to live here, dude. I'm just trying to recover from this ickness, and
you got down with the ickness?
I am always down with the ickness. Colin has the sickness, as you just saw. It just all goes to his ass. Anyways, so our adventurers continue adventuring basically right where they left off in the last book. And through all of it, we're finally getting somewhere, and we're trying to figure out who is looking for Agatha's dumb blue stupid fucking face. And they want a list. They literally want a Watch Mojo top 10 list, and they're gonna go walk through a doorway. It's something. Honestly,
I like this one the best.
Same, but this book is so weird.
Okay.
You're wrong.
Well, as much as I do love this book, especially with what lore, what more is added to the lore. I think it's such an exposition dump. Like, that's every page. It's like an exposition dump, and it kind of bothers me. Like, it's a lot more I'll have you read it rather than show you it type of thing. There's just so much dialogue, or there's just so much words. Like, okay, that sounds stupid, but
I was gonna give you a hard time about that, but continue.
It sounds stupid, but if you're reading a comic book, how do I say this?
Dude, we're reading adult picture books. We're not going to give you shit for not liking to read words.
Well, yeah. No. I'm okay with words. It's just once you get to a certain part in the book, it's like I see more words than I see pictures. And it's very bothersome.
That is definitely true. It felt this book is about the same size as 2 and 3, but it felt the easiest to like speed through because I can speed read. There's a lot less, usually a lot of people, when you talk about comics, if there's less dialogue, they move through it faster. If it's all dialogue, I can just speed read that shit and just full send. And this book took me like 30 minutes. I enjoyed every second of it, but it definitely felt like this. I have no idea. Maybe COVID had something to do with it. Maybe. I know the production, like the release schedule was delayed a couple of times, but
see,
it's
if you
weird.
had asked me, I would have said the third book had more words in it, but that one I was kind of lost in the plot and what was going on, so that one felt like more work to read it and understand it. This one, like you said, just goes really quick. They get a side quest to go find the 2 things. They find the 2 things, and the dude that's with them is like, oh, while we're here, let me help you with your main quest.
That's
and they do that.
true. I definitely think you're onto something with that. The last book had an overarching plot, and each issue was just another installment. This one, it definitely wasn't like episodic at all, but they were a lot more segmented. They're all like relevant issues, but they just flowed differently. It's not bad necessarily, but it makes for a very different reading experience.
I quite liked it.
Yeah, whereas in like the end of the third issue, they're just like, oh yeah, by the way, the thing that you were actually here for, we're gonna go do that now. Like, I liked it. It was a weird comedic turn, but the pacing definitely felt odd.
As much as I do like this, I was so excited to read this when this came out, and I do think that the art style is like, it's just the same as the third book. It's not like it's evolved or anything. It's like, he found his art style in the third book, and then now he's going with it.
I disagree. I think primarily, I think it may be a lot more just in terms of Jordi Belaire's coloring, but
that's what I was going to harp on.
I think the color palette for this book, maybe it's just setting relevant, whatever, is way more expansive than all 3 of the other books.
Mm-hmm.
The first book was a little bit like it was kind of hyper colored, but there wasn't a lot to pull it all together. Book 2 and 3 had pretty specific like color tones because of the settings. This one, each one of the issues feels very different, and like even panel to panel, it's like very different in terms of color settings, lighting choices, whatever. It makes for way more dynamic looking art.
So colors are different than pencils and inks, though.
Yes. Okay. Thank God. Fuck.
No shit. That's why I credited the colors. You
no.
dog.
No. Hold on. Listen. I'm talking about art style, and you disagreed with me, and then you made a point that has nothing to do with my prior statement.
It better reflects the art style. It doesn't look as sickly.
No, but that's not even my statement.
I'm not just. That's not a.
But you disagreed with my fucking statement.
It's not a disagreement with your statement, you dumb fuck.
You did. You said I disagree. You said I disagree.
You said you think it's the same thing as the last one. That is a disagreement.
No. I said the art style. You dumb fuck. The art style. The art style is the same. Not the tone, not the colors, because it's wildly different.
How do you know that an art style contains something if you haven't seen it before? It just got more expansive. Just because it stays like quote unquote like in vein with what you think someone else's art style looks like, we're being shown different shit that can still be counted as an evolution of an art style.
Semantics, I understand, but nonetheless, it is obviously to someone's dumb naked eye that it's the same art style. That's not saying anything bad. That's a good thing. It means now this guy, Andrew MacLean, is like, I have my art style. I know exactly what I want. I know exactly what I'm doing with the art style now, and now I can free flow. And that's what it looks like. It looks like he's drawing, like it's just no thought behind it, and not in a bad way. It's more like there's no need to think because it's muscle memory now. But if you want to get into the semantics of it being evolution, because we got new shapes, see this corridor. We've never seen this corridor before. It's the evolution of his arsenal because we've never seen this corridor before. That's stupid.
I can go through and find some examples if you really want to go there, but that's not the point.
No, the point is that you need to not disagree with me if it's not a part, if you're going to make a statement that's not a part of my statement.
Speaking of no thoughts, head empty, we got a lot less of the stupid numbers all over the page all the time to show us where the panels are.
I did notice that. I liked it. There was still the 1 or 2 times that it happened just to confirm that that's how you're supposed to read it, but it was muscle memory for me as a reader.
I didn't realize that it had, I think it was the first occurrence. I didn't realize it was there until I was halfway through the page and I saw a number. I was like, oh, I've been reading it correctly anyways. So
right. There are a couple times though where it's a long action sequence and he shows how the character moves through the big room, and that's still necessary, I think. But
yes,
yeah, just numbering
nice.
the panels is mostly eliminated.
Yeah,
much happy.
I think once I briefly flipped through the other books, I think the numbering of individual panels, whilst may be necessary from like a perspective of actually doing the art, your panel layout should tell your reader how to read it. That sounds like kind of a snobby thing to say, but like if your panel layout's so weird that you have to number it, that's not a good thing. And his panels have never been that complicated. So when the panels have numbers, I don't really get it. When it's the multiple positions in one room and like a splash page, that makes plenty of sense, and those are good. But the panels, it's like, dude, the shapes and motion in your panels should track. Like that's just doing layouts.
So it's understandable in certain extents where it's okay. So like say this one right here, I have it pulled up where I'm going to show you guys. It's this scene where they find the keyhole in the water and shit, because how you would normally read it as an artist is, so say there's 2 blocks on the left hand side and then there's one big block. You go, or one big block on the right side. You start at the top left, then go to the bottom left, and then go to the right. With this, it doesn't do that. I mean, you can tell just by the color palette. He didn't really need to do that. Like you could tell that, oh, we're in the water, we go here, boop, boop. Most people will understand that, but what if some people don't? And
it might potentially be like
it goes down the line of like this.
It could be a sort of paranoia is a bit of a strong word. Some sort of a fear that people aren't just going to grasp it because he is working with, a non-major publisher, but originally he did start doing these on his own before he got picked up by Dark Horse. Is it Dark Horse?
Image.
Fuck. Before it got picked up by Image. So it might be some sort of a carryover from being an independent artist of like, maybe people aren't going to grasp it, but I think that might be grasping at straws. But anyways,
there's a lack of it, and it's nice. It's either that he's realizing he doesn't need to, or he is actually having more confidence in his own like composition.
I would definitely hope it's the latter, because it feels like it, especially with the general creative direction of the book. It's it includes in each chapter or issue break, it has a passage from whatever stupid holy book they have. And the beginning of the book includes a map. So I think leaning back into a couple of the creative tidbits he had from the first collected editions, from like the first like 8 issues or whatever that was, here, and I'm hoping moving forward, it does come across as a bit more self-confident in his own presentation.
I like that we actually get to see what our big bad looks like now. Like he's finally like, fine, I'll do it myself at the very end of the story.
Also, he looks like Baphomet.
Yes, I honestly had no idea what sort of a shape they were going to go for. I like the fact that he's still chained up. That's pretty funny, and would explain the whole can't really do anything, sending out minions type crap.
Quite often you have the running gag that Agatha is trying to eat like nonstop. Very
Same.
funny, doesn't get old. You also have the assassin lady that is making a moral lesson of their quest with Norgal. We're a team, we need to act like a team, the power of friendship and shit.
I really liked the little interactions with Goat, the weird little Colin man.
The Smurf man.
Yeah. He is kind of a Smurf. I liked that they didn't just kind of drop him from the last book. They didn't de-emphasize his necessity. He still has plot relevance instead of just being like a quirky little demented creature thingy. There was a little moment, I think it was towards the end of the book, where they are just they're riding their horses along with the prince, and Agatha is just being stupid as usual and talking to Goat, and basically asks him what he would be if he could be anything, and then Goat's just like unicorn. And the little interaction that the other characters have, like, wow, he didn't even have to think about that, he just knew what he wanted. It was a nice little thing, little fun nugget.
I do love those fun nuggets.
This book seemed to focus on the quiet moments with the team. There's a couple of times where they're just chilling together, like on their quest around the fire or whatever. And I found that interesting because it didn't get slow and boring. It wasn't like, all right, we need to hold hands now. Like, it's just a crew on a quest and they're spending time together. It was cool. Well done.
I do like those quiet moments. It adds more breathing space for you just to enjoy the art and just feel for the characters.
Yeah, I think that's what the last book had a little bit of a difficulty handling, because it was so plot centric and very stuffed. While it brought in a whole lot of really cool concepts, it didn't give any of the characters a lot of time to react to anything. Whereas this one opens up with a whole bunch of backstory dropping about Norgal's past, which was freaking sweet. Finally getting to understand what the hell his thing with heads is. And they actually get to ruminate on that for like the rest of the book instead of just acknowledging it and moving on. That's really cool. It's relevant to the main plot as well as to other characters. It's just a lot more effort is being put into doing character work, and not just for the main character.
I was kind of hoping he would keep his executioner axe, maybe as like a backup or something, to add variety to head lopping, because that thing looked badass. I want to see some head lopping with the executioner axe.
I was also a little disappointed with that, but on the other hand, I could probably understand not wanting to carry around
Right.
It's like his old name tag. It's a little weird.
I get it, but it looks cool.
It's probably like traumatic or whatever.
Oh,
but
definitely.
they could have, smelted it down and reused the iron for something. Like it's a
that would have been
video
cool.
game.
Like Mandalorian armor.
Just like a video game.
That would
Why
have been
not?
cool.
Are we done with Head Lopper?
Yeah.
Because
I
I have a
think so.
transition for Moon Knight.
We're gonna have a while before the next one comes out, because I don't even think the next issue is out.
Of what?
Head Lopper.
Well, yeah, they don't release. He doesn't release in issues, does he?
Yeah, he does.
They get released in issues?
Yeah.
I thought this last one was different. I thought this
No.
book
We're different.
was as a
No.
book because
No, they
Colin
still come out
talked
in
about it.
issues.
Yeah.
Nope. They're not popular as issues, but you can go look them up. They have individual release dates on each of the stories. But I'm pretty sure the last one came out in the end of 2021, and he only seems to put out a couple a year at this point. So it's probably going to be a little bit before we get another book, which is fine. It's nice having something ongoing to look forward to. But yes, please do your transition.
So coming up next, Alexander the Great deep throats Moon Knight.
Oh my gosh.
Word. Oh my fuck.
It's true though. He was like elbow deep in Alexander the Great.
More like Mark Spector fists Alexander the Great, but you know,
Oh, I love
semantics. I loved this episode across the
Yes.
board.
Yep.
Wait, we're not going to talk about the episode beforehand? Wait, did you guys record last week?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Jacob didn't because he didn't watch it, so I had a 4-minute tangent.
This episode, okay, so this newest episode is so good.
It's actually vaguely scary.
Colin, you need to catch up on like 3 episodes here. Like, what have your thoughts? We heard you on the pilot or the first episode, and then you've kind of dipped out. So
Okay.
catch us up.
So episode, loved that, kind of, sort of, kind of. And then the second episode, it got better. I do love how we keep hearing the glass in the shoes every time he steps. It's like not Moon Knight, obviously the bad guy. I can't remember his name is, but I love how we hear that every episode. It's not like something that happens and then we hear it every now and then. It's every time we hear him step, every time, and I love that. So I was a little worried about this show, of course. Episode 2 was starting to get better, but I didn't really care for it. I can't remember entirely what it was about, but I'll talk about third episode. I like that we got a hint to Jake Lockley. It's like they have no idea who is the guy that's doing this weird shit, and and all my friends are asking me like, "Who's that? What's that?" I'm like, "That's fucking Jake Lockley, buddy. That's Jake Lockley." And I want to know what they're gonna do with him if they have Jake Lockley and Jake Lockley has a suit. I would assume that Jake Lockley could either be Mr. Knight or Moon Knight, because that's how the comics work. Or he might not even have a suit. He just does his thing.
So in the second most recent run, which frankly haven't talked about it yet, not good. Jake Lockley just wears the Moon Knight suit and he like pulls the bottom of the mask up. He looks like Deadpool, kind of. If I remember correctly, yes, in the 2014 anthology run, he got like a weird mask thing that was really bizarre. It only popped up for a couple of panels. I'm thinking maybe he can wear the actual ceremonial armor of Khonshu, like the weird bird armor one.
Oh,
if they want to give him his own suit, that'd be kind of cool. But anyways, please continue.
That would be cool. I mean, so I love that little tidbit, and then I love seeing more of his wife. I love her to death. She's like my favorite character. It was really cool seeing him and Khonshu do all that weird mystical shit and just see them working together. I do like seeing that. In the comics, you don't get that like at all. You don't really get to see them work together except for like one of the newer runs where they're kind of working together, but it's more like he's just an aspect inside of his head now. And that was cool, but kind of sucked that now he's stoned up and shit. But then the fourth episode,
he's bricked up.
Yeah, he's bricked up. I love the fourth episode to death because we got more like Jake Lockley like hinted at, and then we're into like the lunatic run right now. That's what it feels like. We're like in this part where where the show is inspired by the lunatic run, where we get the like the psychiatric ward and stuff like that. That was very much like it fucked in my brain. got my brain all fucked up. I'm like, what's going on? And then I remembered that.
Same, not because I didn't like, I just read the run. It's really popular. I figured they'd do something with it. It's not like I'm going, the hospital must be real. Like, no shit, it's fake. But I didn't think the show was gonna do it. I believe we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I was thinking they were gonna make it a bit more straightforward than really necessary. And like, that's fine. But this episode, in addition to being literally dark, figuratively dark, very violent, surprisingly so, mildly spooky, Layla gets to do all the cool shit. And then it goes to a mental institution, and we have like 10 minutes there. Was just so much. I kind of shit myself.
It so much. I love that. So let's actually go through all that because I want to talk about the suit. Let's just keep going with the episode because I want to talk about the suit after.
So just in general, it's a pretty straightforward bit for most of the episode. The action beats are pretty good. The darkness is cool. Layla is great.
The cinematography is so good, especially when he gets shot in wherever and he falls into the water. And
that was phenomenal.
That was so good. That reminded me of like Blade Runner, like the original Blade Runner.
A little bit, yeah.
And that was so, I love that because I haven't seen a shot like that. Like
it was really cool.
Think of anything. It didn't make me think of a shot. It made me think of a tone, but I don't see that being like a copy of anything, which made me very happy.
I definitely didn't expect the Indiana Jones Tomb Raider vibes that this episode started with, and it was surprisingly fitting.
I'm impressed that they just kind of committed to it. It just on the whole, I liked the small comedy bits at the beginning between Mark and Steven. You know, he decides to punch him in the face. That was funny. I listened back to it a few times. I thought when he was falling, I never caught the actual words he said, but I swear to God, it sounded like he said Marlene like 5 times. I kept going back. I think I'm just crazy. But I couldn't get it out of my head. That's what I heard.
So rewatch that now.
Their chemistry is adorable. I really like it. I like how they're definitely working off of the base idea of who Marlene was and actually giving her character. She's just a whole ass other person. It's phenomenal stuff.
It's better. It's way better.
For sure.
I don't like in the comics.
She's not great.
No, it doesn't make sense. She's just whatever.
No, and they're also they're obviously Arthur Harrow is in name only. He's a pretty strong adaptation of Dr. Amit from the more recent runs. Just fine. I liked their little confrontation across the big old gap. That was fun. Very dramatic and moody, of course, but like whatever, who cares? The other like sarcophagus in the hospital is 100% Jake.
That's what I was saying.
It killed me that they didn't even open it. They were like, "Nah, we're not touching that."
This show gets me to be actually like yelling and actually like I am very like physical with the show for some reason. I've never been like that. I'm like, open it. I'm just like, open that fucking thing already.
They're definitely gonna open it next episode because they're in his head, obviously. I thought I don't know, there was something nice about the hospital bit. They didn't overplay it. Like if the whole show was like that, that would probably be too much.
Oh yeah.
But just a nice little segment at the end. It ends on a cute little, oh, look how hard it was to shoot this double scream, guys. Like, okay, that's fine. You know, big hot hippo lady. You know,
I have a couple of thoughts. So every single thing in the hospital has been shown already in the TV show. So I caught a lot of it, but there's still a ton of things that I was like, whoa, I didn't even see that. A YouTube video held my hand. I also saw teasers of some frigging guest appearance or new character or whatever, but thankfully everything was blurred. And I kind of felt like I got Howard the Ducked. Like the hippopotamus lady showed up, and I was like, what?
I don't know what that is.
Right. It might as well have been Howard the Duck. Like,
Bro, she's the goddess
Who
of
is that?
fertility. You see them hips?
Oh my gosh.
I'm not even joking. That's who it is.
yep. Nefertiti.
Nefertiti, calm down, Jacob. This is just a really, really good episode. It
Yep.
didn't overstay its welcome, but it was really long. I was impressed. Also, decapitation. They did literal decapitation with blood. I'm so proud of
I
Disney.
love decapitations.
They grabbed their balls and they're like, hey guys, do you remember those other shows we did that have balls? We're gonna use
Yeah.
those balls and we're gonna do a little bit of violence, okay? And then they did some violence, and they haven't even said the fuck word yet. So like, it's fine. Show it to your kids.
I do want to talk about the suit though, real quick. I hope that Moon Knight eventually does get his own physical suit, because as cool as it is that we have this mystical voodoo, whatever, like that's cool, new adaptation, but that means that he's not Moon Knight. He doesn't have like the Moon Knight look, and that bothers me. And the whole thing is that he's Moon Knight with or without Khonshu. He's more like this guy that's like, yeah, he's my god, but you know, he's a shitty god, but he's my shitty god, you know.
This is true.
You just want the astronaut suit.
No, I do not. I want him just to have his own suit. I want him to put on the suit, and I want it to be like what Spencer said, where it's like, to him, it looks like it says, wah, but it's him just like putting on his pants and his shirt and his like hood and whatever. But like, I want him to have his own suit, because without Khonshu, like Khonshu's like, oh, whatever, like stoned up, bricked up, like with him being all bricked up, Moon Knight can't have his Moon Knight costume, and it bothers me.
I'm going to take the first one. I read The Eternal, written by Chuck Austin. It is a Marvel Max comic. It ran for 6 issues from August 2003 to January 2004. It is, as you may have guessed, about the Eternals. The Eternals come to Earth, and they grab a couple of monkeys or something, baby cavemen, and they evolve them to be humanoid. And they see, Spencer and Colin are making googly eyes at each other because monkeys as men, but they didn't know this part. These monkeys that have been evolved to humanoids then become the Eternals' sex slaves for 3 or 4 issues. Like a large portion of the storyline was all about sex.
Isn't that usually what they are?
Literally sex bots for the gods. That's it. It was very uncomfortable. It kind of hit the same notes for quite a while. It was like, hey, it's a Max run, so have some more titties.
Jeez.
But after that, the story
Gets worse.
it's tough to describe. At face value, the story is pretty simple, but there's a lot of small details that make it a lot deeper than what it should be allowed to be because it's such a simple story. They try to explain away like the beginning times of Earth. They show the pyramids being built, and they show the evolution of man as is hypothesized or theorized about. They basically do Adam and Eve, but differently. They even have the apple, even though I think they were trying to go with the forbidden fruit, which was not specifically an apple.
It
But
was
anyway,
star fruit.
they have the apple causing problems between essentially Adam and Eve. So one of the Eternals is basically God as far as the monkeys are concerned, and one of them could be Satan as far as like legend goes. So it was really interesting, an interesting take on it. It kind of goes back to the roots of the Eternals, as far as I understand it. There's the original Eternals came out of some really whacked conspiracy theories. So I kind of appreciate this comic for that, like trying to tackle the beginning of Earth times and where all these legends and theories come from. So that was interesting. The sex slave orgy thing was not cool. The art was fairly basic. It reminded me, it was Mignola-esque. Colin's giving me the death glare. It was Mignola-esque. So that was enough to keep me interested. Apparently the Eternals aren't gods. They have some wacky rules that they had to live by, and they choose to rebel against their gods, the Celestials. That's pretty much it. Let me go get my notes downstairs. Hang on, hold that thought.
Oh my gosh.
I think he's just trying to justify his porn to us.
Yeah, I think so too.
So I found this Marvel thing. It's got a lot of nudity in it, but like
you know,
fuck monkeys.
like fuck monkeys. And it's not cool. Just so everyone knows, for the record, that fucking monkeys aren't cool.
No, they were evolved monkeys. They were women now, sort of, probably.
Sure.
Yeah.
I found 4 of these issues, so 2/3 of the run, at Stairway to Heaven Comics.
Oh my.
In the Dollar Dungeon.
Nice.
So each issue was $1. Huge shout out to Stairway to Heaven Comics in downtown Newington, New Hampshire. Love you guys. I had to fill in the other 2 issues through eBay. So I spent $11 total.
Damn, bro.
Yeah.
Jeez.
$10 for 6 issues really isn't that bad. It would be tough to suggest it to the general public.
I would say so.
I think Spencer might find some enjoyment in this because he likes the weird conspiracy reading
Monkey sex.
Reading into the hidden meanings of the story.
The hidden meaning of monkey sex. Yeah.
Aliens,
you guys are both right.
Aliens building the pyramids and freaking Adam and Eve and the apple and
yeah.
They were assassins.
Yes.
Oh my fucking word! They were assassins.
I want to die.
That was Assassin's Creed, wasn't it?
Don't even get me started.
I
can't
not
do it.
Sure if I would read this again. It'll be a long time for sure.
I don't think I'll ever read that.
I want you to see the artwork inside of it at least.
Okay,
so that you can go, it's not my Magnolia.
It's not my Magnolia. Yeah, send me the pictures right now.
He requires pictures of the bare chest, because he can identify Mike Mignola's banana shaped titties.
I can.
A mile away.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh dear.
Most
Lord.
people.
That is unironically true. Most comic book artists draw just insanely fake tits. It's disgusting.
Banana titties aren't fake.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying most everything. They're all just gravity does nothing. They are entirely fake.
Oh yeah.
And then there's some things where it's like, oh damn, those are like real. And this artist understands how actual human anatomy works.
This artist isn't a virgin.
True.
So, Colin, speaking of virgins, what have you done this week?
Well, you know what? This version. Oh boy. Okay. So we're gonna get into a couple things. Oh boy. Oh boy. We're gonna talk about Moon Knight.
Oh gosh.
I read. Then we're gonna shotgun this real quick.
Oh dear.
Love shotgunning.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about 3 runs. We're gonna talk about the run before the Age of Khonshu, and after Age of Khonshu. Ready, set, go. Before Age of Khonshu, we have Mark Spector as the Moon Knight, who is doing all these things. He is, at this point, accepted all his different qualities, and he has become the Moon Knight. And then he learns that he has a child out of fucking nowhere because Jake Lockley is a horny boy, and he is now Uncle Jake, and that was Uncle Steven. But Daddy Mark is in the picture with his purple-haired daughter. Okay, and we keep going, and we meet this dude who's supposed to be the avatar of the sun god, who is also the father of Khonshu. And apparently this has been a thing through the ages. They keep blah blah blah, they keep coming back and forth, you cucked me that one time, I want to cuck you back type of deal, what every villain superhero do. And so then we keep going on this, and we keep fighting this truth guy, and then we learn about the Nazi Jew killer dude, man. The Jew killer, the Nazi Jew guy. Yeah.
Ernest.
The what?
Ernest.
Yeah,
However the hell you say his name. Yeah.
Yeah, something. Uncle Ernst. That was probably the only interesting part about this run.
Yeah, dude, that run was so bad. I haven't talked about it yet, but oh my gosh, there are like 4 good ideas, and it's so long and so kind of shit.
And that was like the only time the art looked good.
Same.
So that was really cool. And it was like, oh, so we get an idea of what really fucked him up, which is he saw someone he thought he could trust be torturing Jews and wanting like little Jews, like young boys. And it was a priest. What are they called? I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be insensitive.
I think rabbi is correct.
A rabbi. This man was pretending to be a rabbi, but in reality, he was a Nazi.
Yeah.
So Nazi rabbi, here we go. But Mark nothing really happened to Mark. He punched the guy in the face and ran away, which is lucky Mark.
And man, do I wish they left it there, because then they bring him back and the run gets even worse.
They could have brought him back in a good way, but they brought him back as a main villain. With what he should have been was, they should have brought him back where Mark thought something big was going to happen, but in reality, it's just a sad, old, decrepit man. That's what they should have done. And it should have been something deep about like Mark dealing with pain and dealing with trauma and
There's
learning.
so much to run with.
There's so much they could have ran with, and it just got shitty. And so then we continue with the shittiness in Age of Khonshu, where it's boring as fuck. And I'm a little let down because I probably should read more of that world superheroes, so I'm a little confused about some of the stuff. So I skipped all that to go to Age of Khonshu. And I went to Age of Khonshu, and it was kind of cool. He was getting some powers of other people, stealing the Eye of Agamotto, whatever his face is from
the Eye of Agamotto from Doctor Strange.
Then he got the Iron
Fist
from Danny Rand, and then he got some other stuff, and the Ghost Riders,
the Spirit of Vengeance.
Yeah, the Spirit of Vengeance, stuff like that. That was kind of cool. It was cool to see some of that stuff, but somehow he was on the moon when he fought Thor, which is confusing. Like, how the fuck are you on the moon?
Okay, to be fair, him controlling Mjolnir is kind of cool, though.
No, I didn't get there yet. That's cool. Why the fuck is he on the moon without a spacesuit or something?
Don't ask questions.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. His daddy is the king, the god of the moons, so he doesn't have to breathe in space. Yeah,
he's on the moon.
Makes total fucking sense, right? No. But the Moon Knight being able to use Mjolnir is very cool. I like him using Mjolnir.
I'm sorry, he's using what?
Mjolnir.
Can you try that one more time?
Mjolnir.
All right, I think I got it.
Fuck you. How do you say it, Spencer? Say it, you fat ass nerd. Say it.
I'm pretty sure
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir.
There
Kat
you go.
in the
Mjolnir.
first Thor
Mjolnir.
calls it Mew Mew.
She calls it Mia Mia.
Yeah.
I just made that reference.
Yeah.
Okay,
Anyways,
so
continue.
okay, so we continue with Age of Shih Tzu, and it just gets worse. And so apparently Mephisto confirmed Mephisto is the main villain of this entire Avengers run, and I had no idea because I just fucking jumped into here. And it's just we get like sexy Mephisto as a cowboy, and
Mephisto confirmed.
a shit ton of different.
Wait. Colin thinks that a male cowboy can be hot.
Of course.
Ram Ranch.
That's gay as shit.
Average 18 naked cowboys in the showers, 18 naked cowboys in the yard, getting hard. Ram Ranch.
All right, Spencer. Colin and I have referred to this many times. Have you heard Ram Ranch?
Yes.
All right.
I have.
Yes, he's the gay one.
Continue with Age of Shih Tzu and why it was weird.
I'm gonna continue with AIDS of Khonshu. So as we continue this run, Khonshu does get put away. Like he gets put away, and the Avengers lock him up somehow, but we don't get to see how. This was kind of like a meaningless thing that happens, and it was so annoying. It showed a little bit. It showed more. Okay, so I guess what you can get out of this is that it showed more of Khonshu is a force of justice. Like he wants to actually he wants to fulfill his role of the one who brings justice, but he does it at any cost necessary. Like he does not care who it harms, how many innocent people he harms, as long as the big bad is gone, then it all makes sense. That's who Khonshu is. And Moon Knight realizes this. And he helps him take him down with Phoenix Force, which was kind of cool. That's back. Also, I don't know what the Star Brand child or Star Brand thing is.
That's a pretty new development, if I remember correctly.
I figured it is. I don't care. Don't want to know. Baby was funny. Tony Stark was funny. Love that.
There was one thing I noticed while reading this. This is great because now I don't have to bother talking about these two things. I didn't enjoy this one that much either.
No.
But
I read this at work and I was pissed off that I wasted my time.
There was a few cool things in there. I was actually more interested in the non-Moon Knight parts than I was in the Moon Knight parts. But one power that I did notice that aside from Moon Knight being the spirit of vengeance, being cool as shit, Moon Knight, after he took the Iron Fist, he picked up one of Danny Rand's abilities, including reiterating his name and title every time he introduced himself and being annoying as fuck about it.
I loved that.
I am Moon Knight, the Fist of Khonshu, every time.
I loved that. Also, I love that. I thought it was weird that we got to see, like, at first I thought it was so cool when he was fighting Danny Rand. We got to see all these different fighting styles, and it was cool that every time we saw Moon Knight, it was just Fist of Khonshu, Fist of Khonshu, Kick of Khonshu, Kick of Khonshu. I thought that was funny. Then it got overplayed when he was fighting Black Panther, so I got bored of that. So moving on from Aids of Khonshu, we go on to the newest run, which I don't remember what it's called.
I don't think it has a name. It's just an ongoing. I think it's up to like 12 issues now, so it's not going anywhere.
I have the recent one right now, where it's Moon Knight after he's back in New York, and it's after the Age of Khonshu, and really good. I really like this run. I like it a lot. We get to see more Mr. Knight. We get to see Moon Knight being Moon Knight. It's just typical things. It feels like we're back in the Warren Ellis run where he's just doing shit, and he's got some people with him, which is nice. He's trying to get back into his life. And you see that he's actually gone downhill because you're wondering this whole time, where the fuck is his wife? Where is his kid? And you learn after he talks to an old friend that they left him and he's not doing so well. And this is like a redemption arc for him, in a sense. This is his way of trying to figure out how to redeem himself from being manipulated by his god and trying to find himself. And this is where he truly realizes that he is Moon Knight through and through, with or without his god. He is the Night Protector. And what's cool is that he's not alone. He has, like, in a sense, a brother, which is not his biological brother, but his brother from Khonshu. He's not the only Fist of Khonshu. There's a new guy. I forget his name, but he's a doctor. And he's got, it's like he was, they had this like little fight, this little debacle in the beginning where he was saying that, hey, you are not being the Moon Knight that you should be to Mark Spector. And the new Moon Knight, I'll say Moon Knight 1 and Moon Knight 2. Moon Knight 1 is Mark, Moon Knight 2 is the new guy, because I can't remember his name. So Moon 1 is just doing his own thing. Then Moon 2 comes around and he's like, hey, you're not fulfilling your duties of the Fist of Khonshu. And he's like, yeah, I am. What are you going to do about it? And they get in a fight and shit. And Moon 2 has all these like imbued powers and whatever. It's all fancy. And when he gets in a fight with Moon 1, Moon 2 is just like, I don't get it. You are like, you talk directly to Khonshu. You have all these things. Why do you fight so ugly? And then Moon 1 is just like, doesn't matter. I'm beating the shit out of you. You fucking losing because you're being all pretty and whatever. I'm beating the shit out of you. How does that make you feel, you little stupid baby doctor man? And so pretty much ends that and puts him in his place, his younger brother in his little place. But after being betrayed in the run, Moon Knight is brought to Moon 2, and he's being healed through this weird Egyptian traditional way. I don't know if it's Egyptian, or I don't know if it's truly anything from Egyptian. I would assume, don't know, was cool. And it's nice that we actually have like two Moon Knights in a sense, because it's like Moon 2 was saying to Moon 1, you think you're the only Fist of Khonshu? It's pretty funny how you think your strong god would only have one fist. Of course he would have two. And that kind of plays off of like something way back in the Moon Knight run where like Khonshu was using other people to like have his own game for some reason. It was just nice that they aren't like fully enemies. It's not just like a reverse Moon Knight again, which I like that they stomped that out so quick in the Warren Ellis run. But now we have
Jake Lockley is the Schlong of Khonshu.
He is the Schlong of Khonshu. So to wrap it all up, the newest run's the best one. Sadly, I read that second, and I read AIDS of Khonshu. Like that was the recent one I read, because I did want to get into AIDS of Khonshu, but I wanted to know what happened after reading the newest run. So I give the newest run a 8 out of 7.
Wow. Colin's breaking math again.
Yep, an 8 out of 7. I give it a 32 cupcakes out of 24 giraffes.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Spencer, what did you do this week?
I read Batman the Imposter, which is a 3-issue Black Label miniseries from last year.
Tell me how bad it was.
Okay. So the art was by Andrea Sorrentino, and it was written by Mattson Tomlin. This is it was kind of marketed alongside the Batman. I don't really know why. It's a standalone, not connected to anything Black Label story with its own creative team and its own universe, blah, blah, blah. It's a Batman mystery, but it's grounded and realistic. That sentence alone is so boring. And that roughly described this book. It does a lot of things very differently, and none of them end up going anywhere. Bruce was abandoned by Alfred because he was such a little shit. Alfred just eventually just couldn't handle it because he's not a parent. And that made this Bruce a lot more angry, but oh my gosh, a Bruce Wayne that's angry? Like, dude.
Whoa.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
So new and grounded.
there's a romance that is key to this book with the, I'd say, secondary protagonist, which is a detective, which was kind of interesting, but it's never really revealed how much of it's genuine because Bruce is like, I'm playing her for information, but also we get lots of like very lovey-dovey scenes from his perspective. It's very weird.
Just telling himself that he is using her, but in reality,
That's what I thought it was, but I don't know. And not because it's being mysterious, just because I don't think the writer really figured it out. There's an imposter, Amogus. There's another Batman who's murdering people. I'm going to spoil it because I don't care. It's a cop who is basically cleaning up after Batman, sort of, because when Batman goes and touches things, he screws up court cases because he's tampering with evidence, and those things end up getting people released. So this guy goes and kills them, basically. Somewhat interesting concept, but the fact that it's an almost unnamed cop who we talk to like twice in this book is very anticlimactic. He dies at the end, and the world will never know if Batman was the one doing these murders or not, which I guess is like a cool cliffhanger or whatever. But this book
not
wasn't exciting enough, whereas I think it's going to get picked up for a sequel. It was a vaguely cinematic like experience, but I think that's easy enough to do in a comic book. Frankly, it's a preference of mine. I like my like contained stories to read like a movie, but this felt way more like it was trying to be a movie than it was a comic. I like certain creative choices here and there. He had like $2 billion worth of motorcycles hidden around the city. It was some crazy number like that, which was kind of cool. You know, like there were some details that I thought were neat, but it didn't feel like on the whole it had much to it. Gordon got kicked out of the GCP, like driven out of the GCPD for working with the Batman the year prior because they kept screwing stuff up and the other cops were just done with it. So like there's some interesting ideas. And I was like, ooh, maybe it's Gordon, but of course it wasn't Gordon. That would have been cool.
that would have made sense.
Yeah, it just, yeah. I think there was like a plot twist with the villain's family being one of not the villain, the detective's family being impacted by these murders or whatever. I don't know. Leslie Tompkins is a very large focus of this book. Every day Bruce has to go to her at like dawn or she's going to call the cops because she knows who he is. So he has to go to therapy basically.
So you go every day at dawn.
Yeah, he has to go or she's gonna call the cops on him, and he keeps justifying his actions to her and blah blah. It just, none of it feels like it's been tread before, but that doesn't make it fresh, if that makes any sense.
You know, I am still interested in reading this, so
It's not bad.
I'll come by and pick it up from you.
It's not bad. It's just not that exciting. I picked it up for cover price of $30 at Jetpack. I'd recommend it on a sale, you know, like $20. It was about an hour.
Make it sound as I don't really want to go buy it. I want to
No, I do enjoy Sorrentino's art sometimes. Some of the designs were okay. Some of it's just kind of boring. Sometimes the action's really good. Sometimes it's incoherent. There were 2 or 3 other characters who could have maybe been cameos. There was a red herring villain, like a red herring character who apparently has a Scarface doll, That was really bizarre and out of left field.
What does the red herring mean again?
It's something introduced to attract attention away from the actual whatever you're looking for. So there's this character in a Scooby-Doo cartoon called Red Herring. He's never the bad guy, but he always seems like he's the bad guy.
Oh, okay.
Like literally, they named a character Red Herring. It's actually very funny. Anyways, I don't know. That's most of my feelings on it. It's just kind of It's fine. I don't regret reading it. I regret like buying it ahead of time, but whatever. You take a gamble. Jacob, what else you got, Mr. Monkey Sex Man?
A couple of really random thoughts. First off, our patron saint Jeff commented on last week's episode, and I'm not going to read the whole comment, but he talked about his experience with the Spawn comics and how it really, at least the first 100 issues, could have been simmered down to like 25. It's really spread thin as far as the story goes. And that reminded me of my last review where I said I had to watch a YouTube video about the Angela spinoff, 3 issues, and I said nothing really happened in that. I was wrong. Angela and Spawn are in heaven because Angela's getting tried by the angel courts or whatever, but they do the do in heaven.
Nice.
Yeah. And it was very, very ambiguous. Even the people making the video were like, I think this is a sex scene, but I can't really tell. And then they Spawn's comic line says, yeah, I banged her. So nice.
Nice cock.
I watched, hang on, let me get a date on this one. Because it's the only date I can get. Am I right? I watched Halloween, the 2007 remake, I guess, by Rob Zombie.
What?
Oh boy, you're gonna have to make this one quick, but please go on.
What on earth are you talking about?
Rob Zombie directed a Halloween spin-off, I guess, or remake, or
it's a remake.
Yeah. And its sequel, actually. But I only watched the first one.
The second one is a fucking acid trip of a movie.
Awesome. I don't really want to get into it too much. I put this one off for so long because I bought the box set quite a while ago of like all the Halloween movies except for the latest 2 pieces of caca poo-poo. Caca poo-poo. And I started this one and the opening scene put me off. It was just like, ugh, nope. I noped my way out of there because it was so off-putting. It starts with an abusive household and just really shitty relationships and people yelling at each other and being nasty to their kids, and a kid is screaming, a baby screaming, and the teapot's boiling, and it's like, nope, noped my way out of there. Been told so many times by a couple of different people, no, you should go back. It's pretty good. It's surprisingly good. And I'm here to confirm it is surprisingly good. This movie specifically spends a lot of time explaining Michael Myers and like why he does what he does. It spends a lot of time on his origin story, his backstory, and like where he comes from and what made him be the killer that he is.
In this Rob Zombie one?
Yeah.
It's good.
It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than a lot of Halloween movies because it took so much time to explain the main character and his motives. So yeah, that was pleasantly surprising. That's kind of all I have on Halloween though. They have Mr. Sandman redone, maybe remastered or performed by different people that sound just like the original, but it's slowed down to like a quarter of the speed of the original, and it sounds so good. It sounds like a lullaby instead of the kind of peppy original. It was really, really good. That was probably my favorite part of the movie, to be honest. It's such a great song, and it sounds even better in this really slow version.
I have a question.
All right. Is it a quick one?
No.
All right.
Because surprisingly enough, I don't have a question. I don't know why at first, I don't know why I just went, yeah, I have a question. I don't know. Do you, in fact, enjoy looking at Monkey?
This has spun into something that it absolutely isn't, and it's kind of killing me. I read a book about monkeys having sex. No, I didn't. Monkeys were evolved to humans. It was the freaking missing link of how mankind evolved, and the Eternals were having sex with humans.
Monkey Cooper.
Are you aware that in comparison to both ape and monkey, humans have a comparably much larger dick?
Wait, so humans have bigger dicks than monkeys?
Yes, by a long shot. Physically as well as proportionally.
Most humans, not Colin.
Not me.
True, but still.
I am monkey.
One more thought on Halloween. It made me really, really uncomfortable because Michael Myers' mom is played by Mrs. Zombie, and she's a stripper.
Yeah, Rob Zombie has a thing for filming his wife all weird in movies, and I don't know what the fuck it is.
Yeah, that
but
was
it's
really weird.
Very strange.
It's a stripper, or the character's a stripper?
Well,
The
his
character's
wife.
a stripper. His real life wife is stripping in the movie.
Yeah, it's weird. He does this like every time. She's always in very strange positions. I don't know what the hell's going on over
I didn't
there.
know he made movies.
Yeah, Rob Zombie. You didn't know about that?
He
Yeah,
makes
like
Salem.
I thought he just had music.
No, he makes like psychotic movies because he has a very fucked up redneck sense of horror. That man needs help.
I should watch those.
Yes, watch the second one with Jacob. It is a topsy-turvy nightmare.
Turvy.
Of it. It's scary, but it's not good. But it's scary, that's for sure.
So I, Colin, read another boring book, but was saved. Well, it was saved from being thrown off my shelf by only its art, which was a book that was written by Cy Spencer and drawn by Daddy himself, Sean Murphy. And that was Hellblazer, City of Demons. So I bought this not knowing anything about it because I like not knowing anything about Hellblazer. I like to just jump in. That's how I got interested in Hellblazer, especially with Original Sin, which is still by far my favorite story, which is just the first stories. Those are like my favorite. I love them a lot. I think they are the best ones, but I haven't read that many. So that's saying a lot. So this new story, it's basically just follows John and how he almost dies, like every time, but is admitted to this hospital, and these doctors find out that figure out who John Constantine is for some reason. Probably says it in the reading, but it was so fucking boring. I don't remember how or why they even care. But for some reason, they're like, oh, this dude's blood. Yeah, John Constantine. His blood is fused with demon cum, demon plasma, demon cummy wummies. And so we should use this and put it into like every other patient that we have to spread his seed. And guess what? Everyone calls him daddy in this run. All of the demons call him daddy. Okay? It gets worse. Just hold on.
It's not because John is their actual dad. That's just what they're told to call him.
Oh, no.
When they're getting his seed.
So what's funny about it is that these doctors, they basically do this because they're trying to impress hell or something. And they want to become demons themselves for some reason. I don't know why. And they apparently like suppress his ability, John's abilities, because he can actually control them if he wanted to, but like the whole time it's suppressed. And he's basically just trying to figure out where this all starts and where it's all coming from, blah, blah, blah. And this nurse that was bathing him, this hot nurse that was bathing him for like 3 months straight is helping him for some reason. And she is hot, very hot. You get to see her titties.
Bonk.
Up her titties for like 2 pages straight. It's awesome. She calls him daddy because she's also infected. She tries to get him in bed because she's like, oh, put a seed in me, daddy. Literally what she does. And beforehand, he even found her toy cabinet. Oh my gosh. He almost gets seduced and he just slits her throat. But just enough where it only bleeds out the plasma blood for some reason. Like how that fucking makes sense. Like he did that to everyone else too. Like they were stuck in this weird ass place where they hid all the fucking John Constantine demon cummy babies. They're not babies, they're adults, most of them, and they're like ravagely, like they're ridiculously horny for some reason as well. And after the whole encounter, he like stabs him in the neck so that like just in the right spot so that like that the demon cummy can get out of them, and so it just ends off like that. It was so boring and so straightforward. They could have done something. They could have done so much more. And it sucks that Sean Murphy was stuck drawing that. But the redeeming factor was that the redeeming points of this whole book, drawn by Sean Murphy.
Get it? Points?
Murphy titties. 2 pages straight. 2 pages straight. Perfect. Love that. Otherwise, boring ass fucking book. I'm so upset by that.
How much did you spend for it?
I don't know, like maybe like $15, 20.
Is it worth it for 2 fantastic titty shots?
Yes. Because
wow.
Yeah. Also, all the art looks good. It's Sean Murphy art. All the art looks good. Sad that there's not many vehicles because like that's his big thing with art, or like when he makes comics, is that there's like super detailed vehicles, but it makes sense that's not in this because John Constantine doesn't really do anything with that. That's why I thought it was strange when I heard that he did a John Constantine like run, was that I'm like that the character like that, there's not vehicles involved. It's like monsters and like grotesque things, and weird ass shit. And Sean's not normally like that. Sean is kind of like a cut and dry, hey, here's some grotesque like bloody figures and broken bones and shit like that. And then we got some really nice ass vehicles. Oh, and check out the titties.
Those are some titties.
Yeah, right? Did you looked it up? I saw you clicking through, and your face like
eyes bulged
up,
and he licked his lips.
And he licked his lips, and his computer screen was bright on his face. I saw the titties through his eyeballs.
As you can hear, my dick at the bottom of the fucking table.
See, right?
While we're talking about art, I have one last random thought. The covers at the end of Head Lopper Volume 4 are still good, but I firmly believe the best one was done by Colin's other daddy. I'm pretty sure he only has 3 daddies, but This daddy would be Daniel Warren Johnson.
Well, yeah.
That is one of my daddies.
It
Oh my gosh.
shows Norgal at the top of a tower with stairs going around the outside and a corkscrew, and those stairs are full of bad guys, and he's just wrecking them all. Very good stuff.
Shit.
Spencer, what else did you do?
So I did not get this book just because it has Poison Ivy on the cover.
Wait, hold on, pause.
Right.
Didn't we all just do our 2 topics?
No.
Did you only do Batman?
Yes.
Whoa.
Whoa.
I mean, he helped a lot with your
Moon
AIDS,
Knight, that makes sense.
I just egged him on.
Keep going.
AIDS of Shih Tzu.
So I found this book on the pre-owned rack at Stairway to Heaven. Apparently, it is a limited like publishing of the collected edition. So I paid double cover price. It is Poison Ivy, Cycle of Life and Death. It is a 6-issue miniseries, Poison Ivy's first ever, which started in 2016. So this is the end of New 52. It was written by Amy Chu with pencils by Clay Mann. I think before he hit his peak, for sure.
Is it Clayman or is it Clayman?
Clay Mann.
That's weird.
Basically, Poison Ivy is living on the DL as a scientist and doing science things. And turns out she's also trying to make human people hybrids, and she makes babies.
Nice.
It's something. The other characters in this book are like non-existent, except Harley, who's in it for like 2 panels. Just the other characters at her place of employment are boring as hell. Swamp Thing makes a cameo at the end, which was great. It just, I don't understand what the pull here was as a writer. Like, you are the first person to get a Poison Ivy miniseries or ongoing, anything. And you decide to go with, she works in a lab where one of the lab guys is secretly bad and is slowly killing off other lab people. And she has spore babies, hides the spore babies, and then the spore babies get older. And then she's a mom with teenagers. This book was it didn't go anywhere, but it takes place over months. Just real weird.
That's weird.
Yeah, it was a very disappointing story. There were a couple of really nice splash pages, for fucking sure. Clay Mann's art was definitely a bit inconsistent here. Definitely very much so likes women, that's for sure.
We all.
Some of the panels are extremely crowded in terms of people and objects, as well as just too many, like the panels on the page feel crowded, real weird. It felt super rushed. There didn't seem to be a long-term plan for this book or the characters afterwards. It has setup at the end, but not for anything in particular. It's like, ooh, look, her children ran away and they're gonna like live their lives in the world. It's like, okay, I don't give a shit about them. Do you want me to? What do you want here? I've been trying to follow Poison Ivy's story for the past like while now, because she's been going up and down and having all sorts of crazy adventures over the past like decade.
Mm-hmm.
And this was just like, if this is where everything really starts, holy fucking shit. They started off on a boring ass note. There are some decent covers. Jacob had a pet theory that the cover was redone because the Poison Ivy is in her traditional leafy garb, and the cover has a black undersuit, but It doesn't totally look like a black undersuit, and Jacob was thinking they might have had to modify the cover for publishing, and they totally did, because that suit does not appear in this book once. It is
Nailed
nothing
it.
but skin and leaves. So that cover is definitely modified so they could just like sell the book.
I know my skin and leaves and what has to be censored or not.
It was just really disappointing. Like I wasn't dreadfully bored, but that's basically just because there were always nice melons to look at. That's really it. Poison Ivy as a character has so much more to offer than this book gave up. This would have been fine at cover price for 6 issues for like $15. It's cool that I have something special, but like that's it, you know. I'm never gonna read this again.
I may have missed it, but how much did you actually spend on it?
About $35.
Oof.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was a normal like $16 trade. The Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn miniseries I talked about a while ago was also not great, was still better than this one. That actually went somewhere. Yeah, disappointing. I got it for the eye candy, and not even the eye candy was that great. Like I said, this was Clayman really before he hit his peak. Like right now, his Batman and Catwoman run is just gorgeous. But this was kind of it's like fine. There's some good stuff in here.
We all needed a bunk this week.
I always need a bonk.
This is
Dang.
true.
All right.
Bonk.
I got a boogie because I haven't had dinner and I gotta be up at 3:45. So love you too, honey. I miss you.
So you know who pays for the bonk bat? Jeff Lorenz, our patron over at patreon.com/dimecomicbros. If you want to support the show, pay for the bonk bat, which gets updated and used on a daily basis. Feel free to go check out our tiers over there. You can get all sorts of cool rewards for the different tiers, like stickers. You get your name dropped on all of our episodes. You get to listen to content early, as well as a whole bunch of content exclusively. We have a back catalog of various clips, sound bites that get pulled out of the podcast, as well as a segment of Dime Comic Bros Happy Hour, which we've been doing for months now, which is just kind of us shooting the shit after recording a podcast. All of that is on our Patreon, as well as art by Colin, early updates, all sorts of stuff like that. Also, feel free to check out our Twitter and Instagram, as well as send us an email at dimecomicbros@gmail.com. Visit our website at dimecomicbros.com. A big thank you to our partners at Jetpack Comics and Games in downtown Rochester, New Hampshire. They are great. They give us a bit of a boost every week, as well as just giving us lots of cool people to talk to. Helping us get our foot in the door, as it were, as well as hosting Free Comic Book Day, which is coming up in
Couple weeks.
2 weekends from the recording date, which means that it'll be about a week, a little under a week by the time this episode actually gets out. May the 7th, Free Comic Book Day will be going on everywhere, of course. But we will be at a table in downtown Rochester, New Hampshire, somewhere around the Governor's Inn property. It's being hosted by Jetpack. They're doing all the organizing this year, as they've been doing for God knows how long. Come check out our booth, get some free stuff, chat us up, take a couple of pictures, as well as see all the rest of the sites, all the other cool people, the other vendors, artists, collect the actual free comics, all sorts of fun stuff. And next week we will continue on. We have a bunch of news to talk about, as well as another episode of Moon Knight. Thanks for listening and stuff. Colin, you look like a frog.
I know.
How grossly motorbike.
Yeah.
Okay, booby man.
What was that automated voice on Colin's end?
Nothing.
And sometimes you don't seem sweaty, and then you realize your ass has just been sweating like fucking crazy.
My ass is just profusely sweating out of its butthole. Yeah.
And you have like itchy ass because you've had swamp ass for a couple hours.
Oh, I hate that.
That is gross. That's
makes
not a
me-
problem because I'm at
That makes me
home.
feel so gross.
But this reminds me of us recording in person in the summer, where
Oh,
we're
that
not
was
doing anything
awful.
intense, but my butt is still drenched. Anyways,
Sweaty.
AIDS
so
true.